Hi, and congratulations. Welcome to the new Department of Revenue Commissioner Adam Crum. Welcome, and thanks for joining us, Commissioner.
Oh, thank you for having me, Mr. Bradner. It's his pleasure.
Commissioner, you have come off 2 or 3 years of a pretty busy schedule at the Department of Health and Social Services. You and your chief medical officer, Dr. Ann Zink, were pretty much became very familiar faces to Alaskans as you guided us through the difficulties of the pandemic. And then you managed the separation and reorganization of one of the most complicated agencies in state government, the department itself. So a lot of people are really wondering why revenue? Why did you decide to go to Department of Revenue? Just to have something new, to a new challenge?
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, health and social services has been very busy the last 4 years. We have the COVID, we had cyber attack, we had the executive order to split health and social services into the Department of Health and the Department of Family and Community Services. And, we were looking at what are our next steps throughout this process. And we've got a fantastic plan in place as we're working on the budget. What really ended up happening was just a mix of circumstances. The interim revenue commissioner at the Department of Revenue, Devin Mitchell, was successfully hired as the CEO of the Alaska Permanent Fund Corporation. And during that time frame, when his transition started in early November, the governor wanted to put somebody in who's going to be able to stay there, to not have another interim before session. He wanted somebody who's going to be able to move that ahead. And so when the opportunity presented itself, I reached out and told the governor that I'd be interested in this because I'm an Alaskan born and raised. This is an opportunity when we look at the Department of Revenue to really help grow our state. And I think Department of Health was put forward in a good position to move forward on a lot of big issues on the healthcare side. The executive team in place over there is really robust, and they were able to deal with issues. And from my side, I've always been fascinated on this side with the revenue. I'm an entrepreneur by background, and this is something that I think we can help going forward is selling Alaska and the opportunities we have to offer the rest of the country and the world.
Would there be mechanisms in revenue proposals to, for example, incent economic development? Is that part of the plan, or would it be just kind of manage what's there and fine tune it?
There's no direct proposals yet. One of the big items the governor is moving forward is the carbon offset package, which is a real market. It's an emerging market, and this is some enabling authority which he's going to present to the legislature to enable particularly DNR to change perhaps how they do some of their land management purposes and enter negotiations. But Department of Revenue has been a part of that as we work with different fund sources and try to figure out where does this market, because it's a voluntary market, on who would pay money into this carbon offset program. So that's one example of what we're looking to do. The other part is just enabling both the state and other mechanisms for municipalities to really move on economic development opportunities. And so we're doing a really robust look around the country, like what other cities have done, what other states have done, on how do we move the needle and get Alaska moving in this correct direction.
Well, that's pretty interesting set of challenges. And you've got a department there that is pretty, it's small agency, staffed by veterans, kind of runs itself very efficiently, always has. Um, I wonder what challenges there might be for the department itself, though. For example, I've heard that there are recruiting challenges. I mean, every agency faces that, but is that particularly acute in the revenue department?
It was a year ago. And I say that because it was brought forward by former Commissioner Mahoney, and the legislature helped in the Gov's office by putting forward some initiatives, particularly with Treasury and the investment staff, to make sure that their compensation level was meeting not industry benchmarks, but making it attractive enough that people can make a good amount of money while being attracted to the work itself. And so we did have a good increase there that we've been able to successfully recruit for investment officers. Well, at the same time, inside our economic research group and division of tax, which is just a really important function for state government, as you know, because they're the ones who put together our revenue sources book and our spring and fall forecasts.
It strikes me that the administration of tax, uh, oil taxes, for example, can be pretty complicated. But it occurred to me that the as complex as it is, it's probably no more complicated or even less so than Medicaid administration in the
Yes.
job you had before.
Um, Yeah, that was an item is having to learn all of the health language and CMS and all of those different terminology, and then move over and learn all of the financial terminology. And one thing with the Commissioner of Revenue role, it's essentially a professional board member. My second week on the job, I had 3 full days at the Alaska Retirement Management Board. The following week was 3 full days at the Alaska Permanent Fund Corporation, and the week after that was ADA meetings, and also a member of AHFC. And so it's trying to move the needle on all of these different boards to make sure that we're pulling in the same direction on a lot of these different items. But from a complexity standpoint, it's new information. It's definitely not more complex than healthcare.
Yeah, it could maybe you could describe a little bit about what the department does. I don't think a lot of Alaskans realize that you've got people in house who manage your investment staff who managed a lot of money. Maybe you could just touch on that briefly. And
Yeah. So the Division of Treasury, we do have investment officers there who manage between 50 to $60 billion in different funds for the state. And they invest these, and they've done a tremendous job doing this. This would include the health retirement trust as well as the pension plans. So they do a really good job. Then there's the Division of Tax, which on the state level, we really only have the property tax side for oil and gas investments. And so we manage that along with all of the different revenue items, along with C Corps. Then there's other items of the department, which is very important, is the permanent fund division, which cuts the checks and does the eligibility,
that's
and the child support services division, which is a very big division and it's a very important aspect of our state.
well, a lot of moving parts, and it's good to have a veteran administrator at the helm there. So, Commissioner, thank you very much for joining us, and look forward to talking more.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I would hope to do this again.